Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome to a collaboration of channels. We have Raha's Ronin over here. We have Unknown Capital over there. Just check out the link in the bio, man, and subscribe to that channel because he does a range of sports from NFL to MMA and even Formula 1. So please check it out. Today we're going to be covering UFC 263's main card. We have the main event, which is between Marvin Vettori versus Israel Adesanya, all the way down to Jamahal Hill versus Paul Craig. So let's get right into the video.
Guys, to start the main card, we got a great fight in the lightweight division between Paul Craig and Jamahal. Jeeshan, what are your thoughts about this fight?
I think this is a very exciting fight. We have two fighters that are great prospects for the light heavyweight division who are looking to enter the top 10 of the light heavyweight division. What excites me more, I have to be honest, I have to start this off, Jamahal Hill, man. Jamahal Hill is looking absolutely insane. 7-0 with his MMA record, 2 wins in a row in his in the UFC as well. His striking is just incredible. The way he's able to change levels with his kicks and his boxing is just insane. And that composure as well. Like, he's not like overwhelming towards opponents. He just waits and knows when to strike. And that difference in tempo is what opponents are struggling to deal with. And even in the Contender Series, for example, I just love the energy that he brings as well. That confidence, that cockiness. He knows that he's going to rule all. He knows that that octagon is his. I mean, come on, like, especially when he knocked out that it was the last fight. I forgot his name, but in the Contender Series, the way he reacted, it was like gasping, it's kind of like the Michael Jordan shrug, you know. He just knows that he's just too good, and he knew that as soon as he entered the UFC with his debut, he knew that he was gonna rule all, and he wins by decision. It was absolutely insane. I just love his energy, and I love the striking skills, and he looks like a great prospect, and maybe even become a champion one day in the light heavyweight division. You never know, but he looks really, really good right now. But I know that Paul Craig is also looking good as well at the moment. Of course, in the beginning of his UFC career, it was kind of a rocky start, but finally he's found his rhythm, and now that in his last 4 fights, he's got 3 wins and 1 draw. One noticeable win is the one against Rua, for example, a former light heavyweight champion, and he was able to TKO him. But I personally think that Jamahal Hill will overcome Paul Craig. But what do you think about Paul Craig and the fight?
I think Paul Craig's going to win this fight. I understand that Jamahal is a new, exciting person on the scene, but Paul Craig has the skill set to beat Jamahal. I think grappling always overtakes martial arts, and we've seen that whenever you put a good grappler against a good martial artist, the grappler's most of the time is going to win. And I think with Paul Craig that's what's going to happen. With Paul Craig, he's a submission specialist, and I think what's going to happen in the fight, he's going to take down Jamahal. And with Paul Craig, there's a crazy stat that 12 out of 14 victories have come by submission. So you clearly know what this fight is going to go down to, where he's going to take him down and try to submit him. And even in the Shogun Row fight where he won by TKO, how did the TKO come from? Where he took Shogun down and then did the TKO punches while he was on top. So we know what Paul Craig's plan is, but we have to see how durable and how Jamahal is going to be towards when Paul Craig is going to keep on coming, try to take the takedown. If Jamahal is going to try to counter, but I think Jamahal is a bit too soon. I think the UFC have done him a bit dirty, where they've given him someone who's really, really difficult in the second fight in the UFC. Like, the Dana Contender Series is a fight, but like, let's be real, the UFC is where it gets like crazy, and I think they're giving someone really difficult. And if Jamahal really loses, I wouldn't be like, okay, that's the end of him, because they've given him someone difficult, but he can always come back, and he's always learning. Like, even in the Contender Series, we saw he's not fully there yet, and I think against Paul Craig, it's going to be a difficult fight. That's why I'm going for Paul Craig, because Paul Craig is experienced in the UFC. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I completely agree. With Dana White, for example, I don't think he's the type. I don't think he looks to cut someone like Jamahal Hill, because you can see that energy that he brings, you know. And you know how the UFC can be sometimes. Sometimes rankings go out the window, and they love people with the energy instead, who can talk better to the media, who can basically bring revenue to the UFC. And that's someone like Jamahal Hill. And Jamahal Hill was saying that, you know, he's not seen my jiu-jitsu. I don't know if it's all talk, but he just doesn't look like the guy to lie, you know, when he says that, he hasn't seen my jiu-jitsu, he's going to be surprised when he tries to fight with me and try to grapple with me. I don't think he's the type of person that lies, because you can see throughout everything he does, from the media to the fight, in the octagon to outside the octagon, it's just full of confidence. So I'm really excited to see what he can do on the ground, and this is going to be a great test, and to see if he can become the well-rounded fighter at the end. So yeah, but I'm going with Jamahal Hill.
But I'm going with Paul Craig. As a UK, he's a UK fighter, so you always got to back the UK boys.
I seem to be back in the Americas now. But yeah, That's our thoughts on the first fight on the main card. So the next fight that we have in the main card, we have Belal Muhammad versus Demian Maia. So tell us, Vish, what do you think about this fight?
Guys, I think this is a great fight. I think Demian Maia has been such a pioneer of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This guy made Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu cool. And then we got someone new coming up like Belal Muhammad, who's not like, he doesn't have something great, but he's good at all around. He's I don't want to say mediocre, because I feel like that's a wrong word, but he's like, how would he describe it, Jeeshan?
I think that he is good all around, but we just don't know how good he is because he hasn't come against a top 10 contender yet. Don't say Leon Edwards, because that fight, we all know what happened. Scissorhands came and attacked. But like, so with Belal Muhammad, for example, he's a very smart fighter. When it comes to versus different types of opponents, he can adapt really well. For example, like someone like Goodman, for example, when he came up against him, Goodman was the type of fighter that was overpowering, likes to bully. So Belal Muhammad didn't want to trade with him in the pocket. He fought from the outside. And then when he came up against someone like Diego Lima, for example, who has the nastiest leg kicks, he didn't want to taste any of those. So he started to jab him a lot more, double it up, confuse Diego Lima of when to throw the leg kick. So you can see that he can adapt differently from different fighters, of course. For this fight especially, people are going to look to Belal Muhammad's takedown defense. It's 84%. But the question is, I know Demian Maia is old, but can he still take down people like he used to? That's the question.
But I feel like someone like Demian Maia, yes, as you said, like Belal Muhammad has really good takedown defense, but we're talking about Demian Maia. This guy has taken part in multiple Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. Even though he's 42 years old, yes, he's towards the latter end of his career, but some things are muscle memory, and I think Belal Muhammad hasn't come up someone like him. I think Belal Muhammad has just come up against people who are just there come up fights. But Belal Muhammad's got someone like Demian Maia who can actually boost his status. When he has Demian Maia under his belt, is going to be giving some kind of credibility.
Of course, and I think that this will be a big win for Belal Muhammad, and I think he will win this fight. Honestly, it's because of the durability that Belal Muhammad has. I think that Demian Maia is at the latter end of his career, and I don't know if he has the same energy to take down someone like Belal Muhammad, for example. If he's able to, then I think it's going to be lights out for Belal Muhammad. I don't know what he will do with Demian Maia on top or from the bottom. Demian Maia could do it from both ends of the canvas, obviously, but I genuinely think that Belal Muhammad is going to win this fight.
I think if it goes down, if the fight goes down to the ground, I think it's lights out for Belal Muhammad, because with Demian Maia, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people are very smart. Where even though they've taken you down, they're already thinking 2 steps ahead. I think Demian Maia is actually the person who thinks like that. If he doesn't get his top man, I know he's going to try to get submission on Belal Muhammad. But I think with Belal Muhammad, I think in his camp, he needs to make sure that he needs to be comfortable. If he gets taken down, that he can get up as quick as possible. And I think with someone like Demian Maia, he keeps his arm down. So for Belal Muhammad, in order for him to win, is put that relentless pressure. Keep on just put volume, non-stop volume. So anytime Demian Maia wants to come forward, he can just slip back and counter. And I think that's what needs to be done properly for Belal Muhammad to win. But I think Belal Muhammad can win this fight, but I think is more for Belal Muhammad's fight to lose than for Demian Maia to gain anything. Because Demian Maia has already proven that he's been such a good pioneer of the sport, and he's just got unlucky at the wrong time.
Exactly, and he's already had 2 title fights. Demian Maia has already had that, and for Belal Muhammad to come over on top of Demian Maia, it will be a great win for Belal Muhammad, and then he can look down into the top 10 of the division again. And the thing is, with Belal Muhammad, back to my original point, he is a smart fighter. He knows who he's fighting, so he will always find a way for the different opponents that he has. And for right now, this is actually a really good test for him to see if his game plan actually works. And then if he goes to the top 10 of the division, then he will start to look at game plans for all of these other fighters and adjust to them and find a way to beat these fighters. So he is a very smart fighter. I don't want to say something, like Rich said, to say something like mediocre. I think it's rude to say that about fighters, just because they're not in the top 10. He's a good overall round fighter. He's just not been tested properly yet by a top 10 fighter. And this is a good way for him to enter the top 10 of the welterweight division. And yeah, so Belal Muhammad's going to win. You agree?
Yeah, I think Belal Muhammad's going to win. But I think if Damien Maia loses this fight, I think it might be time over for him. I think he's proven everything he has to. And I think it's too late for him to get to the top again. So I think Belal Muhammad's going to win. But if Damien Maia wins, I won't be like, oh my God, I won't be shocked.
Yeah, it will be nice to see Demian Maia to carry on, but it's most likely this is Belal Muhammad's time at the moment. So yeah.
Guys, we're now getting to the spicy part of the card. We've got Leon Edwards against Nate Diaz. Jeeshan, who do you think is going to win?
Who do I think is going to win? Well, first of all, I do think that Leon Edwards is going to win. This is a perfect fight for Leon Edwards to get all the rust out for being out for so long. He's been a bit unlucky. You know what happened with Belal Muhammad. He couldn't get a proper fight with Belal Muhammad because apparently he learned in the fight camp to do some scissor hands, according to Kobe. You know what I mean? Which is a bit unfortunate for Leon. I think that with Leon and Nate Diaz, it's going to be it's a guaranteed 5-round fight. We all know how durable Nate Diaz is. But even that is in question because of the doctors in the Hogan Masvidal fight. We don't know it's a good question. Like how long can he go for? You know,
I think how much damage is too much damage in my head, because yes, you can be durable, but like let's take the instance of Chuck Liddell. In the start of his career, he could absorb punches, but then there was that split second where he was just losing. Like the littlest punches, even with Mark Khan, remember, he was everywhere and he could take the leg kicks, but then there was that split second where the chin just left him. And I think that's what's happening with Nate Diaz, because this guy keeps his hand down, he just lets you punch you in the face. And I think it's too much damage. And I think if someone like Conor can drop Nate Diaz, I think Leon Edwards can actually finish him. I think Leon Edwards, his power is very underrated.
Exactly, and maybe he will survive this fight. Maybe he will get Leon Edwards will get a bunch of knockdowns in the fight, and maybe he can survive this fight. But after this, like, how long can he go for just absorbing? He needs to go back to fighting, not so more underrated fighters that are coming up, obviously. So for him to just be this durable, I don't know how long he can go for, man. But when Leon Edwards wins, because you think Leon Edwards is gonna win?
Yeah, I think Leon Edwards is gonna win.
When he wins, he has to face Kamaru at some point. There has to be that fight to happen. I don't like how Kamaru is underplaying it. When Kamaru said Chiesa in his interview, I was so annoyed. I'm like, bro, you have Colby there, you have Leon Edwards there, you have Wonderboy there still. If Wonderboy wins that fight against Gilbert Burns, which is coming back, but if Gilbert Burns wins, he's still there. There's 3 people in line for you to fight for the second time. And to say Chiesa, people, like, stop underplaying it. Please stop underplaying it. Like, to say that I've already beaten Leon, for example, and everyone's saying that, bro, this guy's on an 8-5 win streak. 8-5 win streak, mate. Don't you think he's changed? Of course he's changed. He's evolved. I mean, come on. Like, you have to fight him again. If it's not him, it has to be Colby. Colby is number 1 in mine. It has to be Colby. Colby needs to fight Kamaru. Kamaru, stop underplaying it, saying that it has to be activity. But even he's number 1, man. Because that was your most competitive fight. It was 2-2 going into the 5th round. Like, you can't just underplay Colby. Colby will beat everyone, and you're his toughest challenge. So, and that's better for you. That's better for your legacy. To say that I beat Colby twice, I beat Leon Edwards twice, and I beat a karate master like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. That's better for you. And then you can do what the hell you want. You can retire, fight Chiesa if you want to. Go ahead, fight Chiesa, no problem. But come on, that Colby is next in line.
I think Jeeshan's going on a roast of Kamaru Usman. We should just rename the video the roast of Kamaru Usman. Yeah. Let's talk about Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz. I think with Nate Diaz, the only reason he's got so far is because of his brother and that mentality where they have the just gangster, the smoking weed, they don't give a shit about the UFC. But if we really thought about it, look at his record here, 21-12. Yeah, if anyone else like that, they would have been cut by the UFC.
Yeah, exactly.
After a year. But the only reason why Nate Diaz is being there is because he sells pay-per-views.
It's that status, right?
Yeah, and I think for Leon Edwards, that's such a good fight because if he beats Nate Diaz and like knocks him out, that's going to take him straight to the greatness. And I think sometimes Leon Edwards, he just doesn't have like that personality which bangs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His face always looks tired. You know his face just looks so tired and
lethargic and everything.
And his accent just doesn't help him. Like he doesn't go above and beyond to answer a question. He just answers question, then he moves on. But I think Leon Edwards, he has the skill set. Like the only way I think Nate Diaz can win is to take him down and submit him. But even then, someone like Leon Edwards, you saw in the Cabo Cerrone fight and the Gunnar Nelson fight, where they were takedown specialists and they couldn't take him down. And we know that Leon Edwards is one of the best in the pockets, and he has so much power with the 1-2 where he uses the jab as a feint and he comes to the overhand. I think Nate Diaz is going to be over for him. I like Nate Diaz, but it's over. I think Nick Diaz was the brother who up Nate Diaz, but I think Leon Edwards is going to win the fight, guys.
And this is going to put Leon Edwards into a new realm of stature, you know, and this can actually be the reason why he finally gets the fight Kamaru. So, obviously, I think that Leon Edwards is going to win. Rich also thinks Leon Edwards is going to win. So, yeah, that's our take for this fight.
So, guys, let's move on to the co-main event. We got another great title rematch between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Jeeshan, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Ooh, there's a lot of things to talk about here. I personally think that this fight should be the main event, but obviously they're not going to put any fight above Israel Adesanya, of course, because the first fight was a 5-round war. Like, Brandon Moreno surprised all of us, you know, how he kept up with Deiveson Figueiredo, the guy with 2 power hands, you know, a guy with 2 steels and 2 hammers, you know, he's holding 2 hammers, literally. And you can tell that even in that fight, every time Deiveson Figueiredo lands, you could see the damage, you could see the effect, but Moreno was there with him, jabbing him, taking him down, especially in the 3rd round. My favourite part was when he got his nuts kicked. I'm joking, but you know.
The nuts kick and the eye pokes.
Yeah, and the eye pokes. But besides that, my only question for this fight is, he's felt Deiveson Figueiredo's power. Look, I understand that he's kept up with him for 5 rounds. I totally understand, like, Rich, I get it, like, he's kept up with him 5 rounds. He can do it again. He can absorb again. But think about it from a fighter's perspective. You felt someone's power. That seed is planted in your head. So wouldn't you hesitate in the second fight mentally? Even though you tell everyone, no, I'm fine, I'm going to knock him out, this, that. I get it. But you don't know what a fighter is truly thinking, especially when he gets in the fight. He doesn't want to get hit like that again. But I understand, like, Moreno won almost, Moreno did win rounds, and so did Deiveson Figueiredo, obviously. And it ended up being a draw, obviously. But the thing is that even though Moreno kept up with him, does that mean it's still like, who wants to get hit like that again? And even watching the fight, every time Deiveson Figueiredo lands, you can see the damage on his face. You can see the effect. You're like taken aback a bit. That's the feeling I got when watching it. But every time Moreno lands, no, not gonna lie, it just felt like Deiveson Figueiredo was right there. No problem.
It felt like something, like a pillow was just touching his face.
Exactly, like that. It's not the same effect, you know. Maybe Deiveson Figueiredo was feeling it, but the way that Deiveson Figueiredo was right in front of him, still marching him down, it felt like there was no effect. So that's my only question. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if Moreno will show up the same because he has that seed. Like, crap. Do I want to get hit like that again? That's the only thing. That's my only thing. But what do you think, though?
I think in the first fight, I think Figueiredo had some external factors which was holding him a bit back. Because he fought the first fight 3 weeks notice. I think, even though you said he was perfectly fine, like, after coming from a brutal 8-week camp, and he submitted Alex Perez in the first round, But even then, when you're sparring, you take damage, you take things, and like, you need some time off, and 3 weeks is not enough. And I think that played a big role in. It made Brandon Moreno look better than he actually is. I think Brandon Moreno actually has the skills to beat Figueiredo, but Figueiredo, as you said, has some big farm energy where he's actually a bantamweight, but he's so lean that he can get into flyweight.
Exactly.
Like this power he has. You've seen him how he's actually just slapped people so easily. He's submitted and. It's so good.
The way, especially against Joseph Benavidez, for example, the way he knocked him down 3 times, bro, it looked like he was in a different world, bro. His face, his eyes went up, like, bro,
it was like a con and Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez didn't know what was happening when he got touched. He's like, oh shit, this is Jesus Christ. This is some God power, but let's forget that. But I think with Brandon Moreno, he's actually significantly improved his kickboxing skills. Ever since he got the 2 losses, I think he's come back with something new. I think his coaches have actually helped him develop and do really well. But I think in order for Brandon Moreno to actually get any successes to take down Figueiredo, because Figueiredo is such a big flyweight, I think you could see in the first fight, whenever Brandon Moreno took him down, he was getting tired. And I think with Figueiredo, everything he gets done is the first or second round. If you see throughout his career, all the people he submits is either he wins by TKO or submitting in the first or second round. He's only gone to decisions like a couple of times. And I think with Brandon Moreno, that's going to play a big factor maybe. If it was Brandon Moreno in mind, I'll be thinking, okay, in the first and second round, let Figueiredo release all his power. And then towards the latter round, let me start taking him down. Because, okay, yeah, even though you have the best endurance, but if you're a big boy, the lactic acid is going to travel everywhere.
Exactly, and I completely agree with that. And I think that when I was watching the first fight back, especially in the first round, like I think Brandon Moreno should mix it up a little bit more, because for a power puncher like Figueiredo, all he wants to do is land hands on you. But if you mix it up and confuse him, he doesn't know when to land. If Brandon Moreno can mix it up with some leg kicks, some body kicks, if he can mix it up, he was doing a nice roundhouse kick to the head. I see that he was trying to do that, but he kept doing that repetitively, and there was so much telegraph, and Figueiredo could see that coming, especially when he was doing it repetitively, like kept on trying to land that kick. And then Figueiredo ended up landing one of his own. But if Moreno can just mix it up throughout rounds 1 to round 5 with the takedowns, mix up with the kicks, because Figueiredo has a long stance as well. So if he gets that leg kick, if he can get that body kick as well, then Figueiredo is just there and he doesn't know when to land. If he can do that, I think Brandon Moreno has a chance. But
who do you think is going to win this fight?
I have to go with Figueiredo.
I think last time I went for Moreno, and I think this time Moreno's actually gone and done the right skill. So I think Brandon Moreno is going to win this fight.
And lastly, we have the main event between Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori. So tell us, Vish, tell the people, what do you think about this fight?
Guys, I think we've got a great fight between Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori. I think Marvin Vettori has really proven ever since he lost to Israel Adesanya that he actually deserves a title shot. Beating Kevin Holland in such a relentless fashion, where from round 1 to round 5 was just taking him down. The ground and pound was really, really, really crazy. And then his fight against Jackie Manson, where he actually displayed his kickboxing skills, where most of his fights he was actually taking down, he was submitting his opponents. But in the Jackie Manson fight, he showed his boxing fight, and he dropped Jackie Manson in the second round, and I think in the first round. And I think with Marvin Vettori, he can actually beat Israel Adesanya. I think no one has actually come close to Israel Adesanya in the middleweight division. But I think Jan Blachowicz has actually shown the blueprints to beat Israel Adesanya. I think Marvin Vettori actually has the same amount of skills as Jan Blachowicz, where they're actually very strong, thick boys with 2 C's. And I think he can take him down and just wear him out, and he can get that decision over Israel Adesanya.
The thing is, a lot of people are already writing on Marvin Vettori. They're already thinking about Robert Whittaker. I think Marvin Vettori is a tough challenge for Israel, because the thing is that he can actually replicate what Jan did. He can actually do that. And what Jan did was pretty special, you know, not taking him down against the fence where Israel Adesanya can use the fence to get up. He's actually taking him down in the middle of the octagon instead. And the way Jan Blachowicz uses Israel Adesanya's natural reaction to get that takedown, you know, fakes the cross and then goes in for the takedown. And the reason why it was so easy for Jan to get that takedown was because of how Israel Adesanya leans back, way too back. You see him lean a lot because of his evasive style. But besides that, I genuinely think at the end of the day, Vish, I genuinely think that Israel Adesanya is still going to overcome Marvin Vettori, because at the end of the day, we don't know how well Marvin Vettori will execute this game plan. Like we spoke about Paulo Costa, Yoel Romero doing something different, finally steamrolling through Israel Adesanya, but both ran into Israel Adesanya's hands and basically was overwhelmed with Israel Adesanya's striking and the way he maintained the distance, and they did not know what to do. So I think Marvin Vettori will run into that problem as well. Despite all the things we've spoken about, I think everything that Vishwa just said is completely correct. He does have a chance to win and bring about upset, but I just think that Israel Adesanya is a champ for a reason, and he will overcome whatever Marvin Vettori will bring.
But I think this could be like another Tyron Woodley situation where, you know, when Kamaru Usman exposed Tyron Woodley, where he couldn't he couldn't fight going on the back, and ever since then he can't get a win. But like, it could be that situation, you never know, because Marvin Vettori is actually like 207 pounds is natural weight, so he's coming down to 185. But whereas Israel is only 192 natural weight, so the extra 10-15 pounds could actually help him, because you know when someone's like, imagine me taking you down. I'm a big boy. I'm a thick boy with 2C. So it's harder for you to naturally like get up. And this could be something which what's the name? Marvin Vettori can really use to his advantage.
I completely agree. I think that if Marvin Vettori can get the takedown in the middle of the octagon, then it will be a whole different story. It will be like round 4 and round 5 of the Jan Blachowicz fight. I really do believe that. But to say that it's gonna be that Tyron Woodley is a bit extreme.
No, but
you think, you know?
like before, Israel was so like he was on a pedestal. There was nothing to beat him. Like no one could do anything against him. But ever since Jan's done that, he's given a blueprint for the old division. Like now, Robert Whittaker can go forward, can go. Okay, I have decent takedown game, and now I can use this against Israel. Marvin Vettori can do this as well. Where towards the latter round, when you keep on taking person relentlessly one after another, no matter how good your endurance is, it's eventually your body's going to be drained, and that's what Jan did. When you have so much muscle on top of someone, it's just so hard to.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
But then who you picking? Because I got Israel at the end of this.
I think Israel's good, but I just want to see something new. I want something to spice up the middleweight division.
Wow.
So I think I'm going to go with Marvin Vettori for this.
You're going to go with Marvin Vettori? Okay, okay. No, but I don't blame you for thinking that. You know, I don't blame you for thinking that. But the thing is, I just think that Israel Adesanya is a champion for a reason, and I feel like after this loss, he wants to remind everyone that he's the champ and remind everyone that he is still that winner. So I'm excited to see this new type of Israel Adesanya with vengeance. So there you have it, guys. Those are our thoughts on UFC 260 main card. Thank you, Vish, for being here. Thank you for talking to everyone.
Guys, thanks for having me. You know we're going to be doing a live stream on the day. We're going to be giving our live reaction. We're going to be screaming, probably waking my parents up again. But you know what? I'm so excited for the card.
This is going to be great. So subscribe to Roundhouse Rolling. Subscribe to Unknown Capital. We're going to be doing this for every UFC main card. Every UFC main event. We're going to be doing videos like this. So take care and see you next week.